Good morning, good morning, good morning, beautiful creatures of the internet. I'm Mango Lasagna Princess Jones, and if you don't know why my name is Lasagna Princess, then check out Security Monitor Lizard / stream about negs. That's the one. Okay, so this morning, I can't do Girl Defined again right now. I can't. Girl Defined is going to have to wait until my mental health is a little bit better, which is fine. So today we're going to look at the history of the TLC network, which, as some of y'all know, it was the Learning Company, but that's been dropped, and we will learn all about it. So before we get started, as always, in the description, I have links to reproductive rights resources for anyone with or without a uterus. I have links to LGBTQIA resource hubs for those individuals and their families. And I also have the links to the rest of the Stream Pervs family, including Mr. Horny Pearlfish here, who does some awesome gaming streams. Okay. Also, I very much encourage you to donate to the Satanic Temple Reproductive Rights Legal Aid Fund, and that link is also down there. Let's say good morning to everyone, and then we'll get started. Good morning, Sydney, and yes, please hit the like button. I will love you forever. TIE Fighter Jet, trying to cancel people at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's wonderful. Morning, Pearl. Hello, Brainless. Hey, Minnie. Hey, Carnivorous. Okay, so the history of the TLC network actually dates back to before it was ever called the Learning Channel or TLC in general. In the 1960s, the governors of Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia appealed to the federal government for special financial assistance to help support economic and community development in the Appalachian region, which, as most of y'all know, historically lagged behind the rest of the country. Because, I mean, it's the Appalachian region. It was underdeveloped. It was underfunded. It was not easy to get those resources. In response, the Appalachian Regional Commission, or ARC, was established, and among its initiatives were efforts to boost access to health and educational services. The formation of ARC actually coincided with NASA's effort to expand its technology's usage for the public good. Along with the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, NASA began developing plans in 1972 to use its ATS-6 satellite to test the feasibility of broadcasting education and health information, what became the Education Satellite Commission Demonstration, or the ESCD, a massive educational technology undertaking. ARC submitted a proposal to participate in the ESCD to use the satellite technology to disseminate career education to teachers in the region. The proposal was accepted, and the Appalachian Education Satellite Project, AESP, was created with 15 receiver sites across 8 states. Now listen here, TIE Fighter Jet. The weather has been bouncing back and forth really fucking difficultly lately. So if I do sound peanut-esque, blame my sinuses. I don't know what I sound like to y'all. I just know what I sound like to me. Yes. Peanut's always canceled. And she cancels everyone. What a bitch. Morning, Two Guns. Okay, so the AESP worked with local education service agencies to establish these sites where teachers could watch these broadcast courses, which in turn were accepted for academic credit at 12 regional universities. Some of these sites were not actual colleges. Some of the sites that were used are elementary schools. They used career centers, continuing education centers, community centers. They used libraries. They used the occasional university, just areas where these teachers could go and sit down and be able to actually watch and partake in these courses. The ATS-6 satellite was launched in 1974, and the first year of the AESP proved successful. So, according to a 1982 report on the project submitted to the National Institute of Education, what was most especially apparent was that the project filled a community need not otherwise easily met, particularly in remote areas. As a result, a demand was being created for the establishment of a permanent communication network to continue and expand the services. Minnie, it's the internet. We all look stupid at some point. It's just life. I mean, look at me. I'm up here doing this. Okay, so the satellite launched in 1974. They had a full year of its services. Everything was going great. And then in 1975, the ATS-6 changed its orbit, moving to transmit educational content to India. And the transmission of educational programming to Appalachia ceased until the satellite returned again to U.S. orbit in 1976. When broadcasting resumed, there were some 45 sites that acted as receivers, so it made their antenna available to other TV stations. Over 2,800 people in the region were taking courses delivered from the satellite, and those courses had expanded beyond continuing education for teachers to EMT training, business management, auto repair, things of that nature. In October of 1978, NASA announced technical difficulties with the ATS-6, so it would not be able to do those transmissions for 12 months. And it had no plans to replace the satellite either. So ARC decided that instead of ending its educational TV programming, it would purchase transponder time on a commercial satellite. So this meant that the satellite transmissions were no longer free. New and larger expenses forced ARC to find more revenue and rethink organization of the project. So the Appalachian Community Services Network, or ACSN, a nonprofit corporation with a board of directors appointed by ARC, was created in 1980. And the mission statement for them was to serve and benefit the people of the Appalachian region by providing educational, cultural, and public interest programs through a television network utilizing a satellite distribution center. While the primary purpose is to serve the Appalachian region, the corporation may also provide such services to other portions of the Appalachian states and the United States. To conduct the creation, design, development, production, organization, distribution, and broadcasting of educational, cultural, and public service programs on the basis of priorities and needs identified in the Appalachian Regional Development Act. The programs will be made available to all citizens with an emphasis placed on the needs of underserved populations in rural and non-metropolitan areas. So, instead of being very limited to just the Appalachian region, just those university courses that were accepted in certain sites, instead of having to force teachers and other people seeking continuing education to go find these sites where these were transmitted to be able to complete the work, they were now offering it to anyone that could get it on their television. It's pretty awesome, actually. Yeah, they did. And we'll get into that. We will. The new network expanded its coverage beyond ARC's community receiver sites, making its programming available directly to home viewers. ACSN also expanded its programming from formal education courses to informal content as well. So, following its launch in 1980, the network claimed that it achieved the fastest rate of growth of all basic cable programming services, with some 70 cable affiliates, 1.5 million subscribers by 1982. 70 universities granted academic credit for the courses offered through the ACSN. In its report to the National Institute of Education, ACSN boasted that it remains the only cable programming network with a full-time commitment to the delivery of educational, instructional, and informational programs for adult viewers and learners. So they wanted to bring these educational courses. Universities wanted to accept these courses for credit. It was an easy way for people to be able to get the education that they needed as adults without having to go and seek out a university that offers the courses or sit down and watch it themselves in some random location. They could do it at home, submit the work. Honestly, like, that sounds pretty nice to me. That report also detailed the ACSN's plans in the 1980s to generate revenue, to charge cable fees, to sell ancillary materials, to syndicate its content, charge universities for credit hours. But the network struggled and increasingly turned to corporate investment. In 1986, Info Technology Inc. acquired a 51% stake of the ACSN for $3 million. Because they were struggling. There's only so much that you can do as a full-time educational cable network to bring in that revenue. Yes, brainless. At one point, America did do something smart, at least in the Appalachians. Okay, so Infotech, who purchased the stake in 1986, and their sister company, the Financial News Network, declared bankruptcy in 1991. So when that happened, Discovery Communications, Discovery Network, bought that stake for a reported $32 million. Discovery also bought ACSN's stake as well, becoming the full owner of the ACSN Learning Channel, or the Learning Channel. Rumor has it that Hearst Communications and ABC offered more money for the channel, but withdrew the offer. However, that has not been properly cited, so that's why I say supposedly. I don't want to give y'all misinformation on this. Well, the difference is that PBS is a public broadcasting service, and the ACSN Learning Channel was on cable. So PBS would get money from donations, shows going into syndication, like their children's programming, and private funding. But the cable networks get money in a different way, usually through lots and lots of ad revenue. Currently, they get a lot of money through, signing contracts with people that are, like, none of the details are released. There's a whole bunch of NDAs involved. It's fucking weird. Cable is sketchy and skeevy. Yes, PBS does still exist. On my television, it's channel 11. They still do the morning PBS Kids block, and then around 4 p.m., 5 p.m., it switches to adult catered programming. Well, yes, all companies have to make money to stay afloat, but, and we'll get into this in a little bit, I'm curious as to how TLC is still making money, how there's still companies that choose to advertise on them. Because, well, there's a lot of issues with a lot of current or previous TLC reality programming, and I have a few examples of the issues that go along with them. And I'm going to warn y'all right now, there's stuff having to do with children a lot, apparently, when it comes to the controversies surrounding TLC's programming. Why they're still allowed to show reality shows with children on their network, I am unsure. Why they are allowed to have children around anyone, I am unsure. But we'll talk about that in a little while. Okay, so under Discovery, the Learning Channel continued to focus primarily on instructional and educational programming for much of the 1990s. However, in what preceded its later expansion of such content, it also began to include shows less focused on education and geared more toward attracting popular consumption and mass marketing. In 1992, the network's name was shortened to TLC, although the full name remained in use on an alternating basis based on what shows they were airing at the time. Brainless, it is actually really distasteful to use that winky face on the we will talk about that later when I mention the fact that a lot of the controversies include terrible things happening to children. That's the dude. Please do not do that. That's really tasteless. Like, I'm sorry. Okay, so moving along. Some of the educational and niche programming, because, at the time they were showing the educational stuff still, sure. But they also did show a lot of, like, home improvement shows and things that appealed to people that were watching cable at home. So Paleo World was tracking the work of leading scientists as they solved baffling mysteries about the prehistoric era. And they would use 3D renderings and everything to bring all of that back to life. Earth's Fury was a look at Earth's natural disasters through animated graphics, interviews with scientists, and actual footage of the disasters that had happened. They also would sit down and interview, like, people that were involved in certain natural disasters and get the full look at the types of damages that they actually caused. Great Books was an hour-long documentary series that was created by Walter Cronkite, and it took in-depth looks at some of literature's greatest fiction and nonfiction books and the authors that wrote them. Oddly enough, I don't know how many people actually know this, but Forensic Files was created for the TLC network. Like, that's who needed the show. That's who wanted the show. So Forensic Files started there and aired all throughout the 90s and up until 2011, I do believe, is when the last episode aired. 400 plus episodes, all made for TLC. And it profiles, if you don't know what Forensic Files is, which I'm sure most of y'all do, it profiles puzzling, often baffling cases whose riddles are ultimately solved by forensic detection. All of the cases are real. The scientists and forensic experts in the field are interviewed about these different cases. You get to hear stories from the people that are involved. It was so great. Yes. A&E did used to be arts and entertainment. Their reality shows, oddly enough, haven't had nearly as many controversies as TLC networks have. Like, yeah, the whole thing with the, what is it called? The show where they take the kids and they put them in the jail for a few days and, you know, oh, Beyond Scared Straight. There we go. That show actually has like way less controversy than any of the shows that they've ever aired on TLC, and that kind of says something. Okay. And then Home Time was one of the home improvement shows that aired. It was actually a syndicated show from PBS, which we were just talking about, PBS. And yeah, it was just home improvement. That's it. Because, I mean, what you also have to look at is that when you have a cable network such as that, a lot of the time, the viewers that are going to be sitting down and watching are going to be like stay-at-home moms and housewives. So at the time, these programs were trying to appeal to that. Also, during this time, they were running a morning children's programming block called Ready, Set, Learn, and they also had the cable in the classroom offerings. Joking aside, I also was thinking PBS. TLC seems to have more emphasis on entertainment and pop culture. Hoarders was originally A&E, but I think, yes, Hoarders was originally on A&E. TLC did play it in syndication because once a show reaches a certain number of episodes, then it can go into syndication if other networks want to purchase rights to air it. Now, see, that's the thing, though, Alan. This is why we're talking about this, because TLC did used to have the emphasis on education. I am not sure when you got here, but the entire first thing that I went over was about how it was specifically continuing education for the Appalachian region. Like, it's really interesting how far the show has, like, how far this network has gone from what it was to where it is now. So, actually, I can look that up for you right now. That's part of the reason why we're doing this. Aha. Let's see. Okay. Cool. I didn't know when you got here. Oh. So Intervention is on season 23. Its last episode was season 23, episode 8, and it aired on December 6th, 2021. So yes, Intervention very much is still going. Do I think that Intervention needs to be a show on cable? Absolutely the fuck not. I think that if you are going to do these things, it is not necessary to exploit the persons with the disease and the issue to a national audience. Because most of these people that they do the interventions on fully believe that they are just following their addiction story, and then they hit them with the surprise, oh, hey, it's an intervention. That's not cool to me. I think that's fucked up. Yes, 23 seasons, apparently. I thought it ended ages ago, but that was fucking wrong. Okay, so in the late 90s, they have a horrible success rate. Yes, behind closed. Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of different television shows that do actually have a very low success rate. The Biggest Loser, which was filled with a shitload of controversy because of the way that they got contestants to lose weight, has a very low success rate because those people that lost the weight are not equipped to go back to their regular lives, back to their regular home situations, and be able to maintain the weight loss. They go back to their bad eating habits. They go back to the stressors. They go back to the everyday everything. And it causes them to fall back into those habits. And a lot of them gain the weight right back, or at least some of that weight, but it's still unhealthy to bounce your weight so much like that. It's really stressful on the body. It's not good. My 600-pound life also does not prepare people for shit, because, they get them to lose the weight to be able to have weight loss surgery. Some of them manage to do it. Some of them don't. They get the surgery. A lot of them lose weight, but they don't prepare you for the psychological issues that come with going from being fat and being treated like a fat person to not being fat or as fat anymore and being, I hate to say it, but treated like normal. Because there is a huge difference in the way that you are treated when you're fat versus when you lose weight. And there have been a few different cast members from My 600-Pound Life that have actually gone a permanent solution with their life. Let's put it like that. And that's not good. That is not healthy. Okay, so yes, many do regain or develop another addiction, and it's terrible. In the late 90s, TLC began exploring new avenues to help increase viewership and expand their target demographic, because, at this time, their target demographic was housewives, stay-at-home moms, their kids, which is why they had, the Ready, Set, Learn block and cable in the classroom for teachers and everything like that. And so they started de-emphasizing education over entertainment. And due to this, the morning cartoon block, Ready, Set, Learn, was gradually reduced up until it was completely removed in 2008. And during its reduction, they were encouraging people to go watch those same cartoons on Discovery Kids, which was its own 24-hour full-time kids channel with all of the same cartoons and more. Biggest Loser reminds me of Not the Same As, thank you for the emphasis. Some service people back from deployment. The environment, while harsh, the environment gets rid of a lot of concerns and responsibilities. So yeah, that's that can be an issue. The environment that you're in very much does make an impact on you. When they become depressed by the stresses of home life. Yeah. Home life, a lot of people don't really talk about it, but home life ain't peachy. Like, home life can be very not great. Let's put it that way. Okay, so at the same time that they were reducing the Ready, Set, Learn block, they also were getting rid of the cable in the classroom programming. And if you don't know what cable in the classroom is, cable in the classroom was programming that was put onto various cable networks for teachers and other educators to be able to record and show in their classroom. It was something that anyone could do. Like, A&E Classroom was aired on the A&E network, and it was a cable in the classroom program. So if you recorded it onto a VHS, took it into your school, and played it for your class, you could not get into any legal trouble, because that is what it was there for. CNN Student News, A Little Curious on HBO Family, Dora the Explorer, History Channel Classroom, How It's Made, Kids Court, MTV News, Nick News, Special Agent also. Like, these are all examples of things that were considered cable in the classroom. And actually, if you ever saw any of those shows during the time that cable in the classroom was a thing, they would always have a little thing before it started There was the cable in the classroom logo, the little TV with the pencil. Yeah, that's what that meant. That's how teachers knew that they could record it. And by the early 2000s, that was done on TLC network. They got rid of that, which really sucks. So TLC doesn't actually mean the Learning Channel anymore, right? They seem to have all eliminated their original names apart from his. Actually, okay, so we're going to get into more changes in the TLC name. Actually, that's coming up like right now. History Channel does still have the name History Channel, but if you look at History Channel's current offerings, it's not very historical. Let's put it that way. I hate to say it, but I don't think Ancient Aliens counts as a history show. I think it more so counts as entertainment, considering all the memes that come from it. Discovery Channel is still Discovery Channel. It has its original name. Yeah, those are about the only two that still have their same name, Discovery Channel and History Channel. Yes, Alan, Ancient Aliens. Yeah. I don't think that's a history show. I really don't. And the fact that they air it on History Channel as though it means something just doesn't sit right with me. Come on, bring back the educational stuff. Okay, so in 1998, TLC distanced itself from the Learning Channel moniker and instead focused on TLC, just the letters as the name, with the slogan "Life Unscripted." And the majority of programming, sorry, I can't speak this morning, was focused on reality drama and interior design. And those shows were like Trading Spaces, where two sets of neighbors would redecorate one room in each other's home. And they had 3 days, $2,000, a designer, and a carpenter to help them. And they had like no say over what happened in their home. They could just like say kind of what they wanted and hope that their neighbor actually fucking does it right, because they couldn't even go into their own house. Like, shit was weird. Shows like that were always weird in my opinion. It does kind of say something when we all think Ancient Aliens as soon as the History Channel is mentioned. Like it's the Ancient Alien channels. Okay, so if I were to mention the network True TV, most people that have ever had cable immediately think Impractical Jokers, because that's what airs the vast majority of the day. It's the Impractical Jokers network. You can't convince me otherwise. And it's the same with History Channel. It's the Ancient Aliens network. And that's really sad. Sorry, Mango, I disagree. Ancient Aliens is educational. By looking at the audience, you're educated on who's dumb enough to buy into that shit. Yes, Alan, you are so right. I am so sorry. You're 100% correct. That's my bad. Okay, so another show that aired during this time was Junkyard Wars. And yeah, Junkyard Wars was one of the greatest shows ever. It was actually a redone version of a British show that had closest, I think it was like a Scrapyard Challenge in the UK. But you would have teams in a scrapyard or a junkyard here in the US, and they were given a task that a machine needed to do, and they had to build a machine using scraps from the junkyard, and they were given like 10 hours to make this machine to do the task. It was hilariously great, actually. I really liked that show. A baby story, and it follows a couple through the late days of their pregnancy. Sometimes they show the baby shower, final family outing, or like a dinner party. And then it always shows the family getting ready to like go to the hospital or birth center or prepare for a home birth. They would film the labor and delivery and actually show it on the show. And at the end, the family talks about life after the newborn happens, and like they show the baby a couple weeks after birth, and like the show always had the same layout. Okay, some sort of outing, preparing for birth, giving birth, a couple days after birth, a couple weeks after birth, and then they like show footage of the parents playing with the baby, and then show's over. Like, it was the same every single fucking time. Yeah, the Scrapyard Challenge was fucking awesome. They almost started the family reality shows, didn't they? Honestly, I would say yes. They are pretty much the reason that family-based reality TV is a thing. And it wasn't quite a documentary. It was more a special. It was just like an hour-long special. They wouldn't call them documentaries because you didn't really take too far of an in-depth look into the religion that the Duggars were in. There's good reason for that. Because, yeah, well, I'll bring the Duggars back up in a little while. Don't worry. They're on here. Junkyard Wars is what it was called in the US. In the UK, it was Scrapyard Challenge. And, like, it's... everyone, if they get a chance, they should look it up and watch it, because, like, some of the machines that they needed to build had to do ridiculous things. Like, you had to be able to make your way around an obstacle course 10 times in a certain amount of time, and you could only use what you found in the junkyard or scrapyard, depending on where you're from. Yeah, pretty fucking great. And then the Adam Corolla project. Okay, so before Adam Corolla got famous for doing things, unsure what those things are, honestly, he kind of looks like a douchebag to me, but I digress. He used to apparently be a carpenter, so he spent $700,000+ to buy his dad's house, and then he got together with his old carpenter buddies and renovated the house. So it was like a weird mix of reality TV and home renovation. You got to see Adam Carolla's douchebag face with his friends just like fixing his dad's old house. It's fucking weird. It ran for one season. It wasn't that great. The ratings were not good. Just putting that out there. The ratings were not good. So in 2008, TLC updated their logo to close to what they currently use, and they introduced a new slogan called Life Surprises. And they almost completely shifted the focus to family-based reality television. And by 2014, the family-based reality programming was still the primary focus, with the updated slogan, Everyone Needs a Little TLC. And some of the shows introduced during this time were John and Kate Plus 8, which later became Kate Plus 8 after John and Kate got divorced. And it followed Kate and John Goslin and their lives with their sextuplets and their older twin daughters. And Kate Plus 8 actually got into a lot of legal trouble, because you see, when they got divorced, when the divorce was finalized, Kate Plus 8 did the first season, but John's name was still on the house. So, and, you know, he also had some form of custody over their sextuplets and their twins. And he said, no, you cannot be in my house. You're going to be trespassed off the property. So, yeah, he put his foot down. They could not film anymore. And it took well over a year for them to actually film season 2 of Kate Plus 8 because of it. And they ended up doing 4 extra seasons of Kate Plus 8. And then it came out that Kate took one of their sextuplets who was having behavioral issues, and she couldn't handle it. So she put him in a facility. And John ended up getting his son Colin out of the facility, and he lives with him full time. One of the twin daughters lives with him full time as well. Kate's a bitch. The show's completely done and gone, and there's good reason for it. John also said, "Oh, hey, guess what? You can't film my kids anymore. I say so. The state said that they could not film them anymore." It was great. Hey, Lizard. Yes, they absolutely did need time off of camera because Kate had them filmed all the fucking time. Like, you can't grow up in a bubble on TV 24/7. That does not prepare you for anything in life, like, at all. You're not going to constantly be walking around with a camera on you, you know? Hey, KM, nice to see you. Okay, so another show introduced during this time was, where's my cursor? Little People, Big World, which followed the Roloff family. And it primarily focused on Amy and Matt, the parents, and one of their sons, Zach, who all have dwarfism. They all have dwarfism. Thank you, little people. To get that right. Let's be PC here. Let's not insult people on accident. It's not good. So I take personal issue with some of the people in Little People, Big World because they are now fundamentalists, or at least fundy light. And as you guys know, if you've watched my channel, I don't like that shit. Do not do anything having to do with fundies around me because I hate them bitches. Okay. Also introduced during this time, which we will swing back to this, I promise. But 17 Kids and Counting, which later became 18 Kids and Counting, 19 Kids and Counting. Originally, the Duggars had specials called 15 Kids and Growing, and the other one was 16 Kids and something else, but they had 2 full specials before 17 Kids and Counting started. And we will get into the Duggars in a little while. I promise. I have a lot to say on them and about TLC when it comes to them. I have words. We will go over those words. Another show introduced during this time was Table for 12, which followed the Hayes family with 2 sets of twins and sextuplets. So, Brainless, she actually technically gave birth to 20 kids. In between kid number 18 and kid number 19, she did have a late pregnancy miscarriage, which is super terrible. I do not wish that on anyone or anything. It's fucked up. But the final kid number 19, Josie, she's, special baby. She hasn't gotten the medical care that she needs because she was a micro preemie. And yeah, shit's fucked. We'll get into that though. We'll get into it, I promise. Oh, thanks, Lizard. I appreciate it. Yes, the Duggars are fucked. And don't worry. Don't worry. I got you guys. I got you. Oh, thanks, KM. See, it's just not the lower scum of society like Shannon and Vaughn, who I think the state should take their kids from. Kate is upper class, but the environment manipulation and her exploitation of her own kids counts as child abuse in my eyes. Yes, abso-fucking-lutely, Alan. Yes. Okay, so continuing with shows that were introduced during this time. A lot of y'all are going to hate this one too. Toddlers and Tiaras. You know, where you watch a bunch of kids put on caked on makeup and become scantily clad and do pageants, perform for people. Like, it's fucked. It's fucked. Do not do that. You are setting your child up for disaster. But for some fucking reason, this show was popular enough to spawn a couple spin-offs, including Here Comes Honey Boo Boo, which we'll get into that show in a little bit too, and Sheer Perfection, which we will also talk about, because both of those shows have controversies behind them, and we will talk about it. But yeah, so Honey Boo Boo, we all know, follows Alana Honey Boo Boo Thompson and her mom June Shannon and their families. Yeah. We'll talk about that. We will talk about it, I fucking promise you. And then Sheer Perfection featured several of the children and their families from episodes of Toddlers and Tiaras, and it focused on their cheer club called Cheer Time Revolution and the drama with the moms around the gym. So it was kind of like Dance Moms, but not. It's about cheering instead of dance. Y'all get the gist, I hope. Hey, Vila. Yeah. But see, luckily for us, I don't have to get too much into Dance Moms and my thoughts on it, because that was a Lifetime show and we're talking TLC today. But trust me, I have words about that too. I have a lot of words about that. Yeah, they love to exploit the already exploited and more. Yep, they absolutely fucking do. So since TLC was big on the whole family reality thing at this time, they also introduced, yeah, there's the Here Comes Honey Boo Boo, Sheer Perfection, Cake Boss. Now, Cake Boss focused on Buddy Velastro, who was the head baker at Carlo's Bakery, and his staff, which mostly consisted of his family. One show that I didn't put on here because it was more recently introduced is called Unexpected. And actually, when MTV rebooted the most recent season of 16 and Pregnant, they followed more of an unexpected type show structure, where instead of focusing on just the pregnant teenager, they focused on the family unit as a whole, including the dad, the future grandparents, everyone. Well, something that you have to remember is that even now, there are some fucked up people in this world, and some people will see something, get it stuck in their head, and take advantage of it. Case in point, TLC's Unexpected, the very first girl that they cast for the show was named Michaela Adkins. Michaela had a YouTube channel. She openly admitted at 15 years old to taking multiple pregnancy tests, like even while on her period, because she was trying to get pregnant with her son. It wasn't just some, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. Oh fuck, what do I do? It was, I am going to get pregnant. I am going to get on reality TV. I am going to become famous. For all the wrong reasons. Which is, well, fucked, in my opinion. And TLC should have done their due diligence before casting her, because she's the type of girl that grew up in a time where Teen Mom was no longer about the struggling teen mothers. It was all about the fact that if you get pregnant as a teenager, you get cast on a reality TV show, you too could potentially become a millionaire and own a big lavish house if you manufacture enough drama. Because that's what Teen Mom is now. Because Teen Mom has been running for far too fucking long, and all of them are like a little bit older than me, actually, for the most part. Yeah. Tells you something. Okay, so when it comes to Amy and Tammy, I personally think that Amy was very genuine because they did first start out on YouTube. Amy was very upfront with the fact that she was on disability. Amy was afraid to get YouTube donations at one point because she was afraid that she would lose her disability. Like, she was genuinely terrified that she would lose her only source of income if she started receiving donations from YouTube. Like, Amy's very much has been genuine from the start. She was very open and honest about her thoughts, feelings, and opinions. Did she do goofy shit on YouTube? Of course. Who doesn't? But still. Okay, that's a different story. They did not intend to actually get something like that on camera, because the way that it's set up is they have the GoPros inside of the cars, and they cannot see what is happening inside of the car. It's a GoPro. Like, they do not have a live feed to those shows. Like, so when the dad was in the car with the mom and you saw them on the GoPro, the filming car behind them that was going to the next location did not know that that was going to happen. When she got out of the car and was about to grab her kids and he slammed the door and drove off, they were not intending for that to happen. That was insane. But they put it in the show because it is an unfortunate reality of something that abuse victims do go through when it comes to having kids with an abuser. She did end up leaving him and moving states, and she's been doing great. She's married. She has more kids. She's happy. But that moment in time was unintentionally filmed. Please keep that in mind. That was not meant to happen. They did not know it would happen. She did not know it would happen. It was very scary for everyone involved, but she did consent to allowing it to be in the episode because it's important. Yeah. They did do horrible stuff. I will not deny that, but I do believe that Amy has very much been as genuine as she possibly could for the time being. Well, of course. It's really easy to get on YouTube and indulge. But Amy has very much changed a lot of things. She lost the weight to be able to do surgery, and she now does she does have her child that she got to have after she lost the weight, had the surgery, did what she needed to do, and she's currently expecting their second kid. Just letting y'all know. It's pretty fucking great. Okay. So going more into controversies related to TLC. So actually, when it comes to Cake Boss, in 2011, Remy Gonzalez, who was regularly seen on the show, pleaded guilty to, I'm going to trigger warn y'all right now, a lot of this shit has to do with kids. Okay, if you do not want to hear charges having to do with children, please exit now. Go, because yeah, this gets bad. This is bad. This is not good. But yeah, Remy Gonzalez, who was on Cake Boss for multiple episodes, pleaded guilty to the sexual assault of a 13-year-old. Yeah, that's a thing. That's what he did. Andrea Clevenger, a mother who was featured in the series Cheer Perfection. She pleaded guilty to the sexual assault of a 13-year-old boy in 2014. Yep. Oh, she was constantly around kids too, because Cheer Perfection. It's all about the kids from Toddlers and Tiaras and them going on to cheer and all that stuff. But yeah, 14-year-old or 13-year-old boy in 2014. She pleaded guilty. Yep. So Here Comes Honey Boo Boo was canceled in 2014. It was TLC's highest rated show at the time, and it got canceled. Uh, you see, the reason it got canceled is because June Shannon, Honey Boo Boo's mother, was discovered to be dating a man who was convicted of molesting June Shannon's other minor daughter years before. Yeah. She had dated him previously. He molested her daughter. He got arrested. He got convicted. The whole nine is on the registry, the whole fucking nine, and started dating him again after she got famous and had him in the home with her minor children. Yeah. That's what happened. So she got canceled. Fucking naturally. Why she thought that was okay is fucking beyond me. It is way fucking beyond me. But TLC, great. You canceled them. You did what you should have done. WeTV, however, which is another network that does reality-based programming, they don't seem to care that June Shannon put her minor children in that situation, including her granddaughter, by the way, and instead decided, okay, June Shannon put in the work. She got a bypass surgery, or no, she got the gastric sleeve. That's what it was. She got the gastric sleeve. And now she's skinny-ish. So we're going to do June Shannon from not to hot. We're going to ignore the fact that 5 years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, she was dating a man who was literally convicted of molesting her own child. We'll ignore that. We'll give her a show. Oh, and then during the course of From Not to Hot, she started dating a dude and they got addicted to drugs and she was selling off all their shit, and the show then became June Shannon From Not to Hot to June Shannon Family Crisis. Yeah. Yeah. They exploited the family even more because, Alana Honey Boo Boo Thompson, she's only 17 now. So they're showing her life as her mother is in the thralls of fucking addiction. And it's okay somehow? Oh, and then she got clean. Alana is still in the custody of her older sister. And now it's June Shannon Road to Redemption. Because yes, there is a network out there with less morals than TLC, and that really fucking says something, doesn't it? I don't know what that says about TV as a whole. I don't know what it says about society, but it sure as shit fucking says something, doesn't it? Well, okay. Vila, something that you have to consider is that we live in the US. There is an obesity problem even within children. There is an obesity problem. So you're not going to lose custody of your kids because someone is overweight. You're not. That's not how it works. But she didn't lose custody of the kids because after her show got canceled, or Honey Boo Boo show got canceled, she did end up breaking up with him. She did the right thing. She broke up with him. She shouldn't have brought him around in the fucking first place, let me tell you that. But yeah. So like you're not gonna having an overweight kid, to social services says you have enough food for your child to be able to be that size, and that is a-okay because they're fucking eating. Because there are so many kids that are abused and don't eat. I mean, It is what it is. It'll be what it'll be. It really fucking sucks, but that's going to take a whole lot of reform and a whole lot of money that people don't want to spend on reform in the government. It's a thing. They say they're giving the people what they want, the entertainment they want. No, they created it, and now sadly, people want more. Yes. Yes, they fucking do. People seem to love the controversy. So, yeah. Shit's fucked. Shit is fucked. And final, well, let's get into the next bit of controversy. So there's a show that aired called The Willis Family. Much like the Duggars, it was family with a bunch of kids. There were 12 kids. They were musically gifted. Their father, Toby Willis, and his wife homeschooled them. All of them had names that started with the letter J. Very Duggar-esque. Yeah, Toby Willis, the dad, he pled guilty to 4 counts of child rape in 2017. Yep. Yeah. Please note how the vast majority of these issues when it comes to TLC have to do with children. What the shit? That should not be that way. I don't understand it. I don't. I find it fascinating that they have found so many people that do these things. You know, people on the internet, when they don't have a valid argument, when they don't have a good reason to like someone or dislike someone, they suddenly shout chomo or chomo apologist or pedo or whatever the fuck. Y'all need to fucking stop it, because people like this are actually those things. People like this do the crimes and get arrested and they get charged. They get convicted. They are those things. And TLC, the network as a whole, seems to be fucking chomo apologists. Just throwing it out there. This is what that is. This is the real thing. Quit throwing things out there that can affect someone's real life, when in real life and actually on your TV probably, there's people doing those things, at least behind closed doors. Stop it. Okay? Thank you. Yes, TLC hates kids. TLC absolutely hates fucking kids. Yes, anyone can look wholesome on television if you try hard enough. Sure. It's almost like there's some link between people who want to exploit their children to the world for a quick buck and people who are child rapists. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, except in the next case that we're about to get into. Because at the time that they were originally on TV, this dude was a teenager, and now he's in jail waiting sentencing. But we're about to get into that. We're gonna get there. It's not fun. Put it lightly. I can't help but smile because, like, I'm mad, and if I smile, I won't cry. Fair enough. Not TLC, but you know the show Wife Swap. Have a UK one, a mate whose family were on it. They 100% don't care. Kept small kids up all hours, deliberately upset them, and tried to bribe them to say racist words. Yes, actually, there are shows that do that. Actually, the Super Nanny, when she came here to the US and she was doing the show over here, they did actually end up having to bribe a lot of the kids and do that same exact thing. They very much had to do that. They don't care about their children's well-being. Money, money, money. Yes, it's all about the money, money, money. It absolutely is about the money. Because you see, this is still what gets me. You have all of these things that have happened. You have all of these people that have been charged, have been convicted, have had to serve sentences for these things. but you still somehow get people to sponsor your fucking shows knowing that that's a major fucking risk considering the history of your network and the track record that you currently hold. Like, it's insanity. Why? I really want an answer from TLC as to why. I want to know how. I would love to know how. Because it doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. Okay. So, if anyone has any more questions about the things that we just covered real quick, go ahead and ask them, because I'm going to let everyone take a slight moment to get their rage going so we can talk about the Duggars, because that's what's coming up next. We're going to talk about the Duggars. We're absolutely going to talk about the fucking Duggars, because I have plenty to say. Plenty. Because he is the most recent thing that happened. Of course, last year, Jacob Roloff, who starred on Little People, Big World for a while and later became Fundy Light, said that he was molested by a producer on the series at one point. That producer has not been available for comment. The producer has not said anything. No charges have been filed, but I will say that is something that has been stated. Even though I do not like fundies, he will be treated by me as a victim until otherwise stated. That's it. Like, I feel for him, because that fucking sucks. And it sucks that there are people that work on these shows that can also take advantage. Okay? So that's what I have to say on that, because we're about to get into Josh Duggar and the Duggar family. So, anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Thing they want to say? I could probably do a whole deep dive series about the Duggars, but I'm not going to do that. Today, I'm just going to give y'all, why I'm mad at TLC about the Duggars. Why I'm mad at the Duggars about the Duggars. Why Jim Bob Duggar's a piece of shit. Because you see, Duggar family is headed by Jim Bob, because they're part of the IBLP, the Quiverful movement, if you will. And so Jim Bob, being the patriarch, is the headship of the family, and his weird whisper talking wife, Michelle, she whisper talks everything on camera. There was one time that Derek Dillard, their son-in-law, was like walking around the house filming, and you could see her and you could hear her like actually speaking in a normal voice, like fussing at a kid. And as soon as she saw the camera, she had to keep sweet. And she started whisper talking again and smiling and like staring daggers at Derek. It was hilarious. But I digress. So Jim Bob Duggar, good old JB here. He's the headship. Michelle, actually, they do not teach the females to speak that way. That's just the way that Michelle speaks. Her daughters speak in a normal voice, like all the time. Their daughters all speak normally. Why she doesn't, I don't fucking know, but that's the way that she keeps sweet. But they all do the floating head thing in pictures where they like stick their head out from their body so they look like they have a lollipop head. No, it's weird. Yes, I'm getting into that, Gray Man. Don't worry. I got you. So, all right. Oh, hey, Mickey. It's lovely to see you. So, good old JB. His mom actually is the reason that they got their first TLC special. Because his mom did not like the fact that, they were struggling with fucking 16 kids, or 15 kids at the time, living in a fucking 2-bedroom house. Yes, they had 15 kids living in a 2-bedroom goddamn fucking house. 2-bedroom, 15 kids. How the fuck does that work? The home that they actually had at the time was owned by the church. So his mom was getting in touch with whoever they could, just like, hey, my kid has all these kids. What do you think? And TLC was like, oh, well, they're fundies. They have that many kids. We could do a special. Now, the original special that aired having to do with them, the first two, the 15 kids and more and 16 kids, they were actually kind of hilarious because they poked so much fun at everyone in the family. They were so fucking snarky in all of their subtitles and everything. It was amazing. It was great. It was like, okay, TLC gets it. This is fucking weird. And then they didn't get it anymore. Yes, the child abuse does just keep piling up. And it's going to keep piling when I get into this. This is bad. This is bad. The kids are small, just stack them. No, see what they did in this 2-bedroom house with one toilet. Yes, one toilet. One fucking toilet. And one shower was they had the kids separated in the bedrooms. Mom and dad slept in the living room. And, of course, they were on a buddy system. So the older buddy had to help the younger buddies get ready, do the showers, do the hair, do the everything. So Michelle never actually had to parent her kids after a certain point because her other kids took care of it for her. Just saying. There was a special that also aired during the time that 17 Kids and Counting was airing, where they were building the house that you see behind them. We called that the Tin Mansion. It's the Big Tin House. TTH. The Tin House. Actually, you can find both of the specials here on YouTube, and you can find the majority of specials who did that they did like when they went out of country. Yes, there were specials they did where the Duggars, who were highly uneducated because they attend the school of the dining room table, went out of country multiple times, and they looked like idiots everywhere they went. You can find those on here too. I do recommend giving them a watch. They're sad in a funny way. Okay, so when they were building the tin house, they built it in a very specific way. Okay, so downstairs you have the giant family room. You have the big industrial sized kitchen with a giant pantry in it. It is beautiful. It is gorgeous. Like they have the show kitchen in the front, which they do like basic meals in. And then they have a bigger, like fully equipped, restaurant style kitchen back where the pantry is because they need it. Because have you seen the family? There's too fucking many of them. There's also a playroom that's down there. You also have right near the back door is Jim Bob's office. There's also a prayer closet back there. Yes, they have prayer closets. Keep that in mind. But upstairs, they hadn't revealed anything that had happened previously when they were doing the special about building the house. So the way that the upstairs was done did not make sense until later on. So the way the upstairs is there's a catwalk that goes over the living room. On one end of the catwalk, there's the boys' room. All of the boys shared a room. Josh was the only one to have his own room before he got married and left. Okay, keep this in mind. All right? Only one to have his own room. Right back there near the boys' room. Only one with his own personal space. The boys' room also had a built-in slide that went into the playroom. Okay? So that was on the far end of the catwalk. On the other side of the catwalk was Jim Bob and Michelle's room, which was right beside the girls' room. So they had Jim Bob and Michelle right beside the girls, the boys on the other end, and Josh Duggar was the only one with his own room. At the time that this aired, no one knew anything. Okay? Not even TLC knew anything. So they had 17 kids and counting, 18 kids and counting, 19 kids and counting. Oh, then it comes out because files were not properly censored that Josh Duggar had molested 4 of his sisters and an unnamed 5th woman. Teenager, by the way. The youngest sibling of his that he did that to was 4 or 5 years old at the time. So when they moved into the tin house, when they were building the tin house, they separated the boys from the girls as much as they fucking could. Because Josh Duggar, who, according to Jim Bob and Michelle, was just doing normal teenage experimentation, did that to his sisters and a potential babysitter. She is unnamed. I do not know who she is. No one does. We are going to leave it as the unnamed 5th person. But yes, that happened. That is why they were separated like that. It actually came out that someone, because the Duggars were supposed to be on Oprah at one point. Someone wrote an anonymous letter to Oprah telling her what happened before it even came out in the media. And she was like, oh shit, I can't have them on my show. And she canceled their appearance. Yes, I am a big fan of Fundy Fridays. Absolutely love them. So great. So, mind you, when this came out, it also came out that Josh Duggar never actually had any sort of consequences for his actions. They shaved his head. They sent him off to a Fundy camp called Alert. They made him work with a police officer. He prayed. He did not suffer any consequence for that action. And ultimately, the responsibility of it all fell on the girls, which is why they would wear long skirts to bed, long denim fucking skirts to bed instead of pajamas. And why they have, the little modesty plate on their little fucking cheap ass polo shirts. Like, it's insanity that's how they operated. But I digress. So, also, please keep in mind that when Josh got engaged to Anna Duggar, he told her what he did, and she still opted to marry him and reproduce with him. Please remember that. Please keep this in mind. Because you've got to remember that they never formally dated. They don't date. They don't date. You court. You can't do shit like that. You can't hold hands. Can't do all that fun stuff. You can't hold hands until you're engaged. All that shit. Yeah. So he sat down with her and her parents. Her parents knew. He told them what he did to his sisters, and she still married him. She claims that he just seemed very upset about it, very like he was going to change all of that stuff. So she married him. So when it came out in the media that he had done those things, you know what she did? She turned on the fucking waterworks about it and was more so upset that he was on Ashley Madison. and that he got fired from his job. Her family, no, that's the thing. Her family was left the choice up to her because she was an adult woman. She could make that decision herself. They left it up to her. The Kellers are very much my children will make their decisions and we will support them up until a certain point type of family. The Kellers are still pretty fucking fucked, but at the same time, they're not as fundy as the Duggars are and do leave a lot of choices and autonomy up to their own children. I will give the Kellers that. Hey, Mary Sunshine. Hey, Stew Dog. But yes, yeah. So Kellers are very much, we want you to believe in God. We want you to do all of these things. But at the same time, you have your own autonomy. You can make your decisions. So, yes. Yeah. So TLC pulled 19 Kids and Counting from the schedule, right? They were just like, oh shit, this is out there. We're going to pull it. We're going to only air any potential reruns at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when no one's really watching. All of that stuff. Got it? Got it. All right. So after 19 Kids and Counting was pulled and canceled, TLC ended up doing specials called Jill and Jessa Counting On. The way that it was supposed to be was it was supposed to follow Jill Dillard, Derek's wife, and Jessa Seawald as they expand their families. And the series originally started out, or the specials started out with them being interviewed by TLC about what had come out, their opinions, their feelings, everything like that. But being that they are Duggars, being that they grew up in this cult, being that they had to do this, that, and the other, they had to be sweet. They had to keep sweet about the fact that their brother molested them. They had to not place the blame on Josh because that's not how it works in their society of stupidity and victim blaming and nonsense. So, and they also interviewed Anna. And at the time that these were being filmed, Josh was off fixing himself with therapy or something, which obviously didn't fucking work, but we'll get into that. And Anna and the kids, all of her kids, were living in the tin house in the girls' room. Because, you know, Josh lost his job in DC and they had to move back. And he had to go do another fundy programming thing while fucking Anna and the kids were at the tin house. The Kellers were like, hey, this is a bad situation. If you want out, we will help. They were willing to help her get divorced and come back. But in fucking Fundyland and Anna wanting to be Michelle Duggar Light said no. She stayed. She fucking stayed. Hey, Slim. So Anna stayed. They did the first few specials of Jill and Jessa Counting On. And they decided to pick Jill and Jessa Counting On up for series, which just became Counting On. Originally, because Jim Bob and Michelle knew what fucking happened and never did anything to help anyone and blame the kids, they didn't want them on the program. TLC was like, nope, we can't have you on here. No. So what did they do? They started counting on slowly but surely devolved from being about the older girls, their expanding families, and started to include Jim Bob and Michelle and all of the lost kids, because no one really talks about the other kids. It's always about, Josh, Jana, Jessa, Jill, Ginger, Joanna. I am so mad that I know all of these names, but still. So it went from being about them, their growing families, their ever expanding lives, all of that, to including Jim Bob and Michelle. Anna on occasion, because Anna, when Josh came back, they ended up moving from out of the tin house and into a garage that they had on the property. They converted part of a garage for them to live in. Just saying. Oh, hey, Yato. But yes, so Anna, Josh, all of their kids living in a garage on the property. Counting on now includes Jim, Bob, and Michelle, and all of the lost children. The only lost child that seems to matter the most is Josie, because Josie is their miracle baby that actually came after child number 19 was a miscarriage, which is unfortunate. So she became baby number 19, living baby number 19, child overall number 20. And she was a micro preemie. Micro preemies, if you don't know, need a lot of medical attention. They need a lot of love, care, support. They need a lot of therapies to help any potential developmental issues be as minimal as possible. Micro preemies are very fucking difficult to care for, and you need that support system behind you. You need to have those people that are like, hey, let's work on these things with your micro fucking preemie baby so that they can have the best life possible. So, yeah, no, she doesn't get that type of medical care that she needs. She doesn't. She's very small child. She's also probably underfed, to be honest, but oh, excuse me. Anyway, I could never be a broodmare, one and done. Hey, that's how I feel. I had my one. I'm done. Well, okay, no, my uterus is for rent at the right price. I do not mind being a surrogate. Being a surrogate's great. One of my favorite experiences ever. But otherwise, no, I personally will not have more kids. In my opinion, her trying to keep having kids after that, knowing the dangers, was very irresponsible. Yes. After a very fucking dangerous miscarriage, she chose to have or try to have Josie. And after Josie, she tried to have more kids but could not. Yeah. They do technically have 20 kids now because their nephew Tyler, or as we like to call him on Snarkboards, Ja Tyler, because he's the only one without a J name, lives with them. Okay. No, you cannot. No. Okay, so with everything happening, with counting on including Jim, Bob, and Michelle, all of that, they were putting out these specials that included everyone. You were still seeing just the ridiculous cycle of marriages, birth announcements, more marriages, more birth announcements. It was like every other fucking week. Someone was getting married, someone was having a kid, except for Jana. Jana's been raising kids since she was a kid, so she's done. She's done. She's single. She does her thing. She actually recently got charged with child endangerment, but bitch is tired. She's raised 20 fucking kids. Not to mention all the babysitting she probably does for fucking Anna and Josh because, well, she's there. So while she was babysitting, one of the kids ended up escaping out the front door and was not too far away from the house, actually. But according to Arkansas state law, she had to be charged. She paid her fine, Everything's good. It's nothing terrible. It was an accident. Shit like that happens. My own kid, he's autistic. He's a runner. So if you don't have the door locked, he's going to find a way to escape. They learned that the hard way to school when I told them he's a runner. They didn't believe me. Isn't she supposedly a lesbian? Okay. I will not speak on Jana's sexual orientation because I do not want to misrepresent what she is. I know that she has a best friend, a female best friend that she has had for a long time. They regularly go on trips together. She is probably the only single child with as much freedom as possible at this point because she is allowed to go on trips by herself and do all of that. I do know that she has been on these trips and she has been spending time with some other male fundy friends, and it is unclear if she is into either men or women. She may not be into anyone because she's afraid that she's going to get stuck in a situation where she's raising even more kids. But that is just my stance on it. I don't want to speculate on what her sexuality is because it is an enigma. We don't know. It's hard to tell. She could be completely asexual and like not have any sort of, or she could be the type of asexual that isn't really attracted to anyone, just sort of vibes. I do know she has a killer fucking garden right now though. Like I'm jealous of that garden, but I digress. I hate parents who act like older kids are free babysitters. No, they're a bloody kid. Can't watch them. Don't have that many. Yeah. I helped raise my brothers. In the case of Jana, her buddies were most of the really, really young kids, while Ginger, Joy, Jessa, Jessa and Jill had like a buddy system with, Ginger, Joanna, lost kids, because as soon as Michelle was done breastfeeding and was able to have more kids again, after that 6 weeks was up, that first 6 weeks post birth was up, she handed off the baby to Jana. Jana would have the baby for a while and then handed it off to one of the other buddies. Yeah. Oh, if you look at, you can actually find pictures on their Instagrams and stuff of a whole bunch of the family being together for holidays and everything. Shit's fucking ridiculous, dude. Too many people. Yeah. Okay, so in IBLP, they do have certain rules when it comes to how long you have to wait after things to be able to be readily available. Yeah, by the way, if you're married, you have to be readily available for your partner. It does not matter if you're not in the mood. If your partner is ready to fuck, you have to be readily available for your partner. Yeah, that's a thing. So, Jim Bob and Michelle went on a date night with Jessa and her husband, Ben. At the time, they were just courting. But Jim Bob was like literally humping Michelle on a mini golf course, and they got it on film, and it was fucking disgusting. He was dry humping her. It's fucking gross. Michelle was just like giggly, like a little schoolgirl. It's just like, stop. We are grown. But yes. So the way that it works is, medically speaking, roughly 6 weeks after giving birth, if it was a vaginal delivery, you can have sex again. Okay. But in the IBLP, I do believe you have to wait 2 full months post birth so that you're clean again. And you have to wait like 3 or 4 days after the end of a period before you do it. Yeah. So that's a thing. But yeah. So with counting on going on, them having these people back on television all the time, you're right, women are not baby factories. However, comma space, when you are part of a quiverful movement and you are supposed to give birth to as many babies as God blesses you with, then you become a baby factory. These women are born into being a baby factory. They are raised to be a baby factory. It's all about being a baby factory. Hey, Melissa. Yes, they are. We're touching a bit on them. I would love to do a deep dive about them. But for now, y'all are getting the information that is pertinent, really, to who they are and why TLC sucks. Well, not anymore. They aren't raising them anymore. Jessa, Joanna, Jill, they're all married. And Ginger. They're all married. They all have their own family. We are getting to this. So 19 kids, 17 kids, 18 kids, 19 kids, and counting is no longer on air. Counting On was on air, and they brought back, Jim Bob and all of them. And the most recent thing that happened was that, Josh Duggar is currently sitting in jail waiting sentencing for the receipt, the distribution, and the possession of child essay materials. Yes. That he viewed and received and did all of that from the used car lot that he owned. So that is where they are at now. Before Counting On got pulled off of the air, this is super important, okay? Before Counting On got pulled from the air, before Josh Duggar got arrested, I'm getting to that, Melissa. Hold on, okay? This is right before it came out that Josh got arrested, right before he did get arrested, TLC aired a very gung-ho, pro-Jesus, look at our family, we love each other, we're so wholesome Easter special. Because 2 years prior to him actually being arrested, the family and TLC network were told that he was being investigated for child pornography. The network knew. The family knew. Everyone fucking knew, except for the public, for 2 fucking years. 2 years. 2 whole goddamn years. Yeah. I'm going to give y'all a second to process that. The network and the entire family knew for 2 fucking years. Well, that's the thing, Gray Man. The network was already riddled with people getting fucking charged with child rape. We just went over that too. Multiple shows, multiple people involved, charged with fucking child rape. People that had their shows canceled because they were dating people convicted of molesting their own minor children. The network has a history of this type of shit. The network knew for 2 years that Josh was being investigated for receiving and possessing and distributing child pornography and still allowed them to be on air. They still allowed him to be involved in filming in some capacity because his children were involved. He was still allowed to be around his minor fucking children. No, they're fucking not. They're not. Because Josh technically was not part of the show. Yeah. Yeah. It's okay, Gray Man. I'm worked up. I'm sorry if I sound like I'm mad at you. I am not. I am mad at the situation overall. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, it's a fucked up situation. This is a network that has had two people from different shows pleading guilty to sexually assaulting 13-year-olds. You have Honey Boo Boo's mom who dated a man that molested her own daughter. Not Honey Boo Boo, but her other daughter. Then you've got Toby Willis, who was charged with 4 counts of child rape. And then you've got people like Josh fucking Duggar, who is waiting sentencing. The network knew that this was happening. Yes, it was Pumpkin, who currently has custody of Honey Boo Boo. Just saying. Yes, TLC is absolutely nuts. And somehow, they still get people to sponsor shows. They still get the ad space. They still get people that do. They get people that still watch these shows in replays on the TLC network. I am unsure if Anna was as well. All I know is that the guy that she was dating was convicted of molesting Pumpkin. That was what he was on the registry for. But yeah, that's what June Shannon's ex was. Yeah. I don't fucking get it. I don't see how a network with this much of a fucked up history when it comes to their reality-based programming is allowed to still run. I don't get it. If someone gets it, please let me know. Because at this point, the track record is fucked. Right now, everything is fucked. I always kind of figured TLC was exploitative to some level, but I didn't know about this shit. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Well, see, Crochet and Crime with Melissa. Whenever you get a chance, you should look up the number of people from that show that have passed away. And you should look up the number of people that passed away because they went permanent solution rather than dying of other causes. Yeah. It's not pretty. The network itself is fucked. Really fucked. Like, super fucked. Yeah. I don't know how they sleep at night. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I knew that the shows that I was approving for a network or shows that I did approve for the network had this type of thing happen. I couldn't. TLC should be off the air. And yes, they don't have a great success rate. No reality show that is based around things like weight loss has a good success rate because as much as they like to tout themselves as being reality TV, it's not reality. You are shoving these cameras in people's faces. You are telling them what to do to lose the weight, but you don't tell them how to maintain it. You don't tell them how to deal with the psychological issues that happen. You don't tell them these things. It's beyond fucked. And the fact that Josh Duggar was allowed to be, near production, the fact that actually when Josh Duggar was initially arrested, when he initially had his first trial hearing before the full case was going on, he was allowed to go stay with a family friend and see his kids on a regular basis. Oh, and Anna was pregnant, by the way. Yeah. She had the smuggest fucking look on her face every time they entered the courthouse. She doesn't look so smug anymore. Dumb fucking bitch. I'm sorry, but if I ever find out that you were convicted of doing that sort of thing, especially when it was described in court as some of the worst material they had ever seen, and the youngest victim was 18 months old, you're not going to be allowed near me or my kid or anyone ever again. Sorry. You're just not. It's fucked up. It's gross. And yeah. Oh, Jesus is absolutely right. Yeah. Experts that have to testify on these things said that it was the worst that they had ever seen. The worst. And yet she still stuck by him. She held his hand. She looked through, like, she looked like she knew that he would be able to get off and it would all be fine. She's eating that crow now, though. And I honestly, like, I am non-theistic. I am. But I hope and I fucking pray that Josh never did anything to his own daughters. Because when it came out what he did, when it came out what the material was and the youngest ages, he has daughters around that age. Daughters that he was allowed near, that he was allowed to be alone with, that he... Yeah. No. It's not major control from the family. Her own family has tried to get her to come back. They have offered to pay for the divorce. They have offered to do everything to help her. It's nothing to do with control from the family and everything to do with her own smug fucking ignorance. Well, that's the thing. Anna was not raised IBLP. Anna was not raised in the Quiverful movement. Anna was not a part of it until she married Josh. She was not part of the brainwashing from a young age because her family did not partake in that, at least not to that level. This is very much an Anna chose of her own free will to stay. Maybe she sees divorce as a failure. But honestly, I think staying with a scum fuck who could look at and receive those images, I think that's worse. Honestly. Like, I think that brings more shame than a fucking divorce. Especially in a religious movement that emphasizes children and having children and raising children. You can't raise a child with a scumfuck. At least not successfully. Yeah, she wasn't raised in it. None of the Kellers were. Yeah. It's just, yeah, she did. She happily announced the birth of their child while he was in court. She did. It's another daughter, by the way. Another girl. Yeah. Yeah. I cannot understand how a network can stand behind a family like this for as long as they did. Well, okay. I will say this. At the time that they started having kids, she knew about the sisters. She knew about him molesting his sisters. She was aware of it. He told her before they ever got married so that she could make the decision to marry him herself, and she chose to. So, yeah. That's one thing. She likely just wanted to get out of her home situation, and because the Kellers are not very well off. The Kellers are very simple people. The Kellers, they had too many kids for what they can afford, really, but I digress. It's the fact that she had the most recent kid that bothers me the fucking most. It's the fact that she is in such denial about everything that infuriates me. It's the fact that she can look at herself in the mirror every fucking day and think that she's been in the right and that he didn't do anything wrong, despite all the fucking evidence, really fucking gets my goat. I can't. Yes, they absolutely can be living right next to you. There are a lot of sick people in the world. There's a lot of fucked up religions in the world. There's a lot of fucked up cults in the world. There's a lot of terrible everything. I wouldn't necessarily say that I am afraid of humans. I generally am the type of person that I like you until you give me a reason not to. But there's some people that you just kind of know. And that you're just kind of like, I don't know why I like you. I don't like you. But there's a reason I don't like you. And we will figure it out. And when it comes to the Duggars, the first special I ever saw of them, I was just kind of like, I don't like you. I don't know why I don't like you. Because, I mean, religions are all weird. You get some fucked up things in religion all the time. But then I quickly discovered why I did not like them. And it actually, the dislike started well before it came out about Josh Duggar. And the first thing that happened. It actually, I first started to realize why I disliked the Duggars and their religion when it came out that they followed the Pearl method. For those of you that have not been to my channel before, I have talked about the Pearl method because Debbie and Michael Pearl wrote books on how to train up a child. Those books have been directly linked to multiple deaths of children. There is something that they did called the blanket method. You see, you take a blanket, you lay it out, You put your child on the blanket. It's usually like a crawling age child, surrounded with toys. Mommy and daddy sit in front of the blanket and watch you. And, crawling kids, when they see something that they want, they are going to try and go get it. Well, if your child got up and started to crawl and make the way towards the toy, you would beat them. You would beat them into submission until they stayed on the fucking blanket. Yeah, that's the blanket method. You beat your child until they sit still and wait for you to tell them that it's okay to go do something. You beat your child into submission. You make your child fear you rather than respect you or listen to you. Oh, you beat them for moving because you didn't say they could move. They're a crawling age child. Gotta listen to mom and dad, even though, you're still developing. You are still learning how things work. And at some point, you will get to the point that you will listen on your own. But the Pearls didn't think that was fucking fast enough. So you beat them into submission. Yeah. That's how that worked. Multiple children have died because of the Pearl method. Multiple. Unfortunately. If you ever hear someone say that they're going to train up their child, do you know what they're talking about now? They did a moderation of the Goddard homeschooling, yes. Seeing as how Michelle only homeschooled up until a certain point, and then it was passed off to Jana to do, yeah, them bitches don't know shit. Oh, you want to hear something kind of funny? When Jim Bob Duggar was running for office in his state of Arkansas, he initially said that people that do those types of things to children and look at those types of CSA materials deserve the death penalty. Looking kind of dumb now, aren't you, Jim Bob? Because he clearly doesn't believe that anymore, considering how much he has spent trying to defend his son and how much he has spent to try and get his son a new trial at this point. Why are you walking back your words there, Jim Bob? Yes, she did beat a crying baby in church. She has beaten a lot of children in church. Oh, and the parents are cool with it because she's Debbie Pearl. It is fucked up. It is. Oh, that's the thing, Melissa. All of us are heathens. Yeah, all of our kids are heathens. All of us are heathens. Such is life. Well, and all he did was send his son to another chomo to re-educate him. Yes, initially. All right, so mind you, that first chomo camp thing that he did was when he was a teenager, right? The second one wasn't done with the same dude. The second one was done through the church proper rather than just a police officer friend. So, yeah, that was a whole thing. Come on, Jim Bob, be like Ned Stark and carry the sentence out yourself. Yes. Wouldn't that be great? However, I personally am really, really looking forward to finding out how long Josh Duggar gets sentenced for, because he's facing up to 20 years at this point, right? So, yeah, people aren't gonna like him. It's a federal charge. It is a federal charge. So federal prison, they're not gonna like him. It's gonna be fun. Well, that's just part and partial of fundies. Do as we say, not as we do. Come on. Ted Haggard was anti-gay, then was caught with a male prostitute. Yes, he was. He was. It's still just so ridiculous to me how, everyone in these cults can just be so in denial of themselves, of them true selves. Yes, Slim, you are a heathen. You are a sword-swallowing heathen, and Slim's link is down in the description, you guys, and y'all should totally go check out his channel and watch him swallow stuff. I was told by several people I needed to medicate my children because they were too active. No, they are children, and if they need to stand on one leg to do math homework, then let them. Actually, yes, that is very true. So when it comes to children and their development, it has been seen throughout multiple studies, multiple studies, that a lot of kids cannot learn in an environment where they are stuck in one place, where they have to sit down and watch. In most classrooms now, there are modified seating arrangements for those children that cannot just sit in a desk. Some classrooms have chairs that will spin, that'll rock, beanbag chairs, just little mats on the floor, and they can work on a clipboard. Modified seating has actually helped improve grades and test scores of children because some of them just can't sit in a desk. And I wish that had been an option when I was in school, because I promise you, I could probably learn a lot better if I were in something comfortable. I am not violent, never, but this makes me want to bust down doors and do some damage to these adults. Yes. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about a worldwide cult that thinks we all deserve to burn for eternity for acting the way we were designed. So it makes sense they physically and sexually abuse their kids. Okay, so IBLP is not necessarily worldwide at this point. There are offshoots in other countries, but yes, because it's their own brand of Christian bullshit. It's their own special brand of Christian bullshit. You're welcome, Slim. I can't sit still for hours and I am 41. I will get bored and then start some fuckery. Yes. God, I feel young. Okay. I'm 29. I have ADHD and autism. I take meds for my ADHD. I finally got my first full night's sleep in a few weeks because of life shit last night, and it was fucking great. But when I'm working, because I work from home, there are times where I can't sit in my chair anymore. I have to get up and I have to move. I have to go do something else. Otherwise, I am not going to be focused on my job. To be fair, though, my job kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's money, and I like pops and buying stuff with my money. Duggar is going to be absolutely wrecked if and when the other inmates get a hold of him. That's for sure. Absolutely. And see, that's the thing. This has been covered on the news so many times. They know he's coming. They know who he is. They know what he's done. They're aware. It's not going to be pretty. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Ted Haggard and his homosexual prostitute are both completely heterosexual. Let's put that out there right now. Also, please excuse my water cans. I have had most of an 8-pack of water today, and it's only 11:20. I'm on Adderall. I take a 30 milligram XR. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. They will probably request he doesn't go to Gin Pop. That's exactly where he should be. Throw him to the wolves and let them handle him. You're right. he probably will be put into protective custody at first. However, a lot of those people that are in protective custody, they do get outside time together. So they'll know. There'll be people in protective custody that know he's still fucked. He's still fucked. Yeah. They can't deny where they get their bullshit from. They absolutely can't. See, I just have the 130 milligram XR. It's been working regularly like it should for the past like 6-7 months. So as long as it keeps that up, then I should be good on it. And if it does start to not work anymore, then I'll have to take an IR 20 in the morning and 20 in the afternoon. And I don't want to do that because that just sounds like too much. Like, I know I need it so that I can focus and I can be able to do things like this where I can give y'all the research on various topics, but at the same time, 40 milligrams of Adderall a day it sounds like too much, even if it is prescribed. Make the kiddies run 20 laps before class. That'll settle them down. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Because you got the kids like me that'll still be wild and crazy and still want to do other shit. Gonna fuck shit up all day. Yes, he should live in fear. He probably does at this point because, I mean, his legal team is trying everything in their power right now to get him a retrial. Their latest thing was that things that they presented in court were unconstitutional. That's the latest update. They're trying to get a new trial because it was unconstitutional. Unconstitutional. There we go. The inmates are already having bidding wars. Not that I condone assaults, but after his year in solitary, it will be released to hounds. Yes. If Josh is a good Christian and pure faith, if tossed to the wolves will not attack. Oh. Well, it's a great thing that he is not a good Christian or pure of faith now, isn't it? I don't condone this. By the way, this is all in Minecraft. Putting that out there. This is in Minecraft. YouTube gods. Because y'all are probably more useful than Vaughn's gods. Putting it out there. And if inmates get pissed enough, they will get them. None of them respect dudes like, yep. I think it's time people start holding the advertisers on TLC to task, and then they lose advertising money. The only way to get TLC completely gone is to get advertisers to pull their commercials. Therein lies the problem. Crochet and Crime with Melissa. You see, with the history that TLC currently has of shows that have been either canceled or removed because of people doing things to children, which is quite a few, I went over them, they still have advertisers. Even if you try and take an advertiser to task on why they're still advertising on TLC, another advertiser is going to step in, and another, and another, and another, because they want to get their product out there. And when they're on a cable network, it seems like they get more. Therein lies the issue. If advertising on TLC affected their bottom line in a much more impactful way, then they wouldn't advertise there. But it doesn't. So they're not concerned. They don't care. They don't look at the fact that so many people associated with this network have gotten in trouble for doing things to kids. They just see, oh, we'll throw you some money. Actually, technically, they'll throw Discovery money because Discovery owns TLC and be like, okay, we want you to advertise on your channels that you own Discovery Communications. And Discovery Communications is just like, yeah, sure. Like, if we need to take anyone to task, we would need to take Discovery Communications to task because Discovery owns the network. because Discovery puts the advertising onto the channel the way that they want it. It is not TLC itself, it is Discovery Communications as a whole. There we go. That's the best way to put it. Chomos rarely survive in prison. Honor among wrongdoers. You touch kids, you're dead. Yep. Abs-fucking-lutely. Honestly, I will not make that claim. Purely because I don't know. I do know that when a show's idea comes forward, they get the show idea approved, and then they go from there. Unfortunately, when it comes to casting, it's really they find actual people that are unfortunately fucked, and sometimes it doesn't come out that they're fucked until much later. Yes, Discovery Communications, the same people that make Discovery Plus that did the Onision documentary. Yes, like I said, yeah, exactly. They don't care either. Yep. Oh, hey, Sydney, welcome back. Yeah, that's the problem too. Boycotting products only works if you get enough people behind the cause to affect the bottom line. If you don't affect the bottom line, then they don't care. That's why Kellogg's was so relatively, when it comes to things like this, that's why they were so quick to get their former workers that had gone on strike back, because it was affecting their bottom line. I'll see you later, John Coyote. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Discovery has been going downhill like history. It's all religion and aliens. Yeah, I made mention of ancient aliens earlier, and everyone knew I was talking about History Channel. Because that's how it is. It's the Ancient Alien Network. You can't help it. Oh, Slim. We'll talk about it later. But, TLC also has this history of getting big families that are terrible with their children or have had too many children. Because, Willis family, Toby Willis, 4 counts of child rape. The Duggar family, 19 kids, Josh molested his sisters, CSA, all that. But then they also recently got the Plath family. The Plath family, they are another fundy light group. The matriarch of the Plath family was so exhausted from picking apples at the orchard with her family, wrangling all the kids, doing all of the this is what you're supposed to do because you're a mom thing. She forgot to load up the baby, and she ran him over with her car. Yeah. That is a thing that has also happened. Plath matriarch ran over the baby with the car because she was so exhausted, because she was wrangling the kids, because she was doing all of the things that a good mother is supposed to do, that she ran over the baby with her car. Yes, that is what I said. This was, of course, before they got onto television. This was roughly 4 or 5 years ago, I believe. But yes, it is an unfortunate thing. It is very much an unfortunate accident, but it just goes to show that the fundy religions, the fundy groups place so much emphasis on what the woman has to do, what she has to take care of, all of the kids that she's supposed to have, everything, that they neglect the needs of the mother herself. They neglect the needs of the children, and these accidents happen. It's one of the worst accidents ever. What is wrong is that it is not a group that emphasizes the well-being and care of the mother. If mom is exhausted, if mom is trying to make sure that she has wrangled a million things all at the same time, something's going to fall by the wayside. And in this case, it was the most unfortunate thing to fall by the wayside. That's what's wrong. Most of the older Plath children have escaped fundamentalist lifestyles. And because of it, the Plath parents rarely let the older kids see the younger kids. And if they do, it is on a very controlled basis because they don't want them tainting the younger kids, things like that. I mean, honestly, the same thing goes at the present moment for, yes, Minnie, the child did pass. The child, in fact, did pass. Yeah. But when it comes to fundy parents trying to keep a hold of their children inside of fundamentalist lifestyles, if one of the older children manages to escape or fall away, then the parents tend to try and shield them. No, there was no prison sentence or anything because it was deemed an accident because she was fucking exhausted. She didn't need a prison sentence on top of losing her child. I mean, she has not had any kids after he passed. She was done. And I commend her for that. I commend her for realizing that she did not need to go through all of this again. So, yeah, like Jill Dillard, because her last name's Dillard now. Jill Dillard has left fundamentalist lifestyles. She is no longer quiverful. Jill is the one that Jill's the one that got away. She is in therapy. Her husband Derek is working to get his license to be a lawyer in Arkansas. He just needs to pass the bar. They have 2 kids with a third on the way, and they've been married for a while. Jill's kids go to public school. They are not taught at the school of the dining room table. She is one-upping her kids above the rest of the grandkids and her siblings. She is putting her kids in public school. Derek went to public school. Derek knows the type of education that you can get in public school. It's not always the best, but it's better than what was taught at the dining room table. And I commend them for that. I will say, I do not agree with a lot of their beliefs still, but she does use birth control. At least she did before they're having baby number 3 soon. But there's such a gap between her kids that it makes sense. Yes, she did speak out about Josh. Now, when it comes to Jessa is not fully out. Jessa very much does school of the dining room table. Jessa does not regularly take, think it's Henry that needs the speech therapy. She doesn't regularly take him to that. I don't think Spurgeon ever needed any sort of therapy services. Yes, his name is Spurgeon. Her first son's name is Spurgeon. Spurgeon. Okay. Anyway. I think his middle name is Wilberforce. Yeah. Anyway. But yes, Jill still doesn't believe that homosexuality is right. But she does hang out with divorced Christian women. Like she's learned to give up that prejudice and bias against women who did not have a successful marriage. No, Mary very much for the Dillards, for Jill's kids. It very much is education versus what they were taught at the dining room table. He is going to learn so much more than Jill ever did. Because yeah, once you reach a certain age, you become part of the No Child Left Behind stuff, which just teaches you how to memorize things for standardized testing. Yeah, around 5th grade is actually when a lot of the bigger standardized testing begins. So the things that her son is going to learn, that Israel is going to learn between now and 4th grade, is going to be so much more than Jill ever learned at her dining room table. So much more than any of the other grandchildren are going to learn. So much more than Michelle probably learned or knows, because she's had so many kids that she honestly might have lost quite a few brain cells from it. Just saying. Yes, it is going to take a long time. She has made a lot of great strides. She is working on it. I commend her for working on it. Do I agree with some of her beliefs? Fuck no. But she's getting there, and that's what fucking matters. She's getting there. Yes. Yes. I mean, they are nutters. Okay, so actually... Okay, no, his name is Spurgeon Elliott. Spurgeon Elliott is Spurgeon's name. My bad. I just looked it up so I could double check and verify. Yeah. So Spurgeon Elliott, and then his little brother is Henry Wilberforce. That's what it is. Henry's middle name is Wilberforce. Spurgeon's middle name is Elliott. I don't know. That's just it is what it is. Jessa is not good at naming her kids. Her daughter's name is like Ivy Rose. Actually, it's actually something normal. Ivy. But you got Spurgeon and Wilberforce over there just chilling. So yes, Wilberforce. Again, it's Spurgeon Elliott and Henry Wilberforce. Two separate things. Sorry, I had fucked that up. I'm correcting myself because I don't want to give y'all wrong information, but yes. Naming a kid is hard as fuck when you... okay, naming a child becomes infinitely harder when you do not have any experience with the vast majority of pop culture because you were raised in a fundamentalist cult. So you name them after Christian things like Spurgeon. Oh, no, not Sturgeon. Spurgeon. S-P. Spurgeon. Spelled the same way, just with a P instead of a T. Spurgeon. Yeah. That sounds like the names of twin serial killers. I was always told before you name your baby, go stand on the front porch and yell their name. If it sounds stupid, don't name them that. That's actually like really fucking good advice. It's really good advice. Oh, no, it's spelled like sturgeon, but you take away the T and put a P there. Yeah. Yeah. Spurgeon. Spurgeon. Wilberforce is the name of the son in the comic strip Born Loser. I remember that comic, but I don't read comics. They weren't allowed to read comics. Let's see. Let's see where Wilberforce came from for that name, shall we? Do. No, I don't want notifications. Thank you. Because I know that Spurgeon is the name of a prominent Christian figure that is one of Ben Seawald's favorite people. Oh, here we go. Yes. All right, so Henry's middle name is Wilberforce. All right, Spurgeon's middle name is Elliot. Henry's middle name is Wilberforce. They got that all sorts of fucked up. Okay. So, apparently, the name Wilberforce comes from William Wilberforce, who is a British politician who helped put an end to the slave trade. So his middle name actually did come from something. Yeah, William Wilberforce. That is where that came from. I have plans to name my first child, ladies and gentlemen. Wait for it, Wilson. Wilson. I'm down for that. Do it. Well, of course Lizard's coming in with the dorky knowledge. Why do you think we're best friends? Yeah. Everyone, just a friendly reminder that Nutgate is a thing. Nutgate. Security monitor lizard loves Peanut and her cigarette juice gargled voice. Nutgate. Thank you. I love Jesus and I have never heard of a Spurgeon. Yeah. No. Lizard has backed down from that. Lizard needs to contact me so that we can figure out what to do for the community poll. So that we can figure out what Cobes thing he will eat. Because that was a whole adventure. Everyone, please go check out The Last Brunch. That was so much fun. Not canceled. You're canceled. Yeah, it is a shame. But at the same time, honestly, I wouldn't want to put him through that torture purely because he might die. He doesn't have the stomach build like Cobes does. I mean, baby Jesus is an asshole. Baby Jesus a bitch. I'm sorry, that was rude. Hey, do you guys know what would happen if I made one of the Russian bots a mod? I'm kind of curious. Like, is it possible to make one of the Russian bots a mod? And what would happen if you do? Anyway, sorry, random thought. Those nachos were rank. They had beer boiled eggs on them. I'm at work. I can't. I know you're at work. That's why I'm saying all of this because I know you can't. Look, dude. So much fun to talk to. So much fun to hang out with. But you backed down. For good reason, I will say. It was really good because like you don't have the stomach for it. But I know you can't defend yourself, so I'm going to talk mad shit because it's funny. Anyway. But I want to do it. Like, I'm so curious. Also, I know I've made it because I've had 2 Russian bots in the chat today. It's so great. Lizard is eating MREs. He will be fine. Maybe. He drinks badger blood now? Oh, yeah, that's right. He does, doesn't he? That's right. He also drinks lizard hair. Or drinks dog hair. Fuck. I can't talk this morning. I'm sorry, guys. I've been going at this for like 2.5 hours. And it's nice to be able to wind down from all of the intense shit that we have talked about today by just shooting the shit with each other for a while. So, does anyone have any like questions or anything about all that we've talked about when it comes to TLC Network, their beginnings, their middles, hopefully what will soon be the end of fucking TLC Network? Because I will gladly answer any that you have. Or at least try to. I can look up anything that I may not have the answer to. I still need to know where Spurgeon came from. Oh, yeah. His name is Spurgeon Seawald. His last name is Seawald. Can you tell Lizard Megan says fuck you, ghosting dick? What does that mean? Lizard, did you fuck up somewhere? Okay, so Spurgeon's first name is in honor of Charles Spurgeon, a 19th century British speaker. Oh, I don't do those things on my channel, Blaine. I don't confuse Lizard like that. I poke fun at him, but like, I don't do that type of thing here usually, unless it's like a palate cleanser night. My neighbor's pit bull that they chain up, and I reported them for that this morning, keeps breaking loose and bringing me her owner's shoes. Aww. Aww. Let's see. I don't know much about Kate Gosselin, but from what little I know, the Fed should have taken her kids away from her after season 1 of that show. What else has she done? Okay, so when Kate and John got divorced, John made it to where they couldn't film Kate plus 8 anymore because he trespassed them from the house, right? Well, they got that figured out in court, but John was trying to figure out another way to prevent it from happening. And he figured out that in his state, the children, because of how many hours a day they were filming them and how many days a week they were filming them, they would need to have work permits. And he would not allow them to have work permits. So she illegally had the kids filmed for a long time. Yeah. To my knowledge, she has not done anything else at this point. Now that the show's done 2 of her kids with John, with, you know, their dad. The others have been staying off camera. Both of the older twins are in college now. You know, they're trying to get life back to as normal as possible. I do know that she was on Dancing with the Stars, but she really shouldn't have been. She's a bitch. Yes, absolutely. Everyone should go over to Crochet and Crime with Melissa's channel and absolutely watch some Hennifer. because we stan Hennifer here. And I will be dropping Melissa's channel link in the chat for everyone. Her last show was her dating or trying to date. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was very short-lived. It did not last long. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Hennifer is a diva. Okay, I've been watching the fucking videos, and Hennifer she seems like she owns the place. I love Hennifer. Hennifer Lopez is she's a doll. It's not Dancing with the Stars, it's Dancing with the Reality Stars now. To a degree. They did have JoJo Siwa on there, and I will say that JoJo Siwa did start out as a reality star. She was on Dance Moms. She was told that she would never be a star because of like her speech impediment and who she was. And now she's like one of Nickelodeon's biggest stars. She makes music, does concerts. She is not afraid to be herself. She is not afraid to show people that it is okay to dress however you want, no matter how childish it may seem. And we stand JoJo Siwa in this house because JoJo Siwa is good people. She's doing her best. Hooray! Now you can defend yourself, kinda. Abby was so cruel to her. Now she is a fucking icon, and Abby is gone. Actually, well, okay, so Abby's not doing her Dance Moms thing anymore, right? Abby is currently dealing with cancer and all sorts of other things. But JoJo Siwa is just such a fucking icon that she thanks Abby for where she is now, because Abby gave her a chance on Abby's Ultimate Dance competition, and then later on, fucking Dance Moms. Like, JoJo absolutely credits Abby Lee Miller with her success, because if it weren't for Abby Lee having those shows and doing what she did, then she wouldn't be where she is. And I think that that's fucking great of JoJo. Like, I really do. Yes, she did come out. And here recently, she had a concert where someone that was going to be in attendance tweeted her and said, I'm coming to your concert tonight. Could you not say that you're gay during the concert? And so JoJo, at the start of her concert, talked about that tweet and was like, so I'm not going to say it. And instead she held up a giant rainbow flag with her fucking face on it. Because JoJo's an icon, and we stand JoJo in this house. Chloe is very much doing well for herself, and actually, Chloe was always going to go far purely because her dad's a damn good writer. There's a reason that they were able to easily afford all of the dance stuff. And it's because of her dad. Mary, you remember the show Children's Hospital? Anyone? Because that great fucking show. Yeah, Chloe's dad was a writer for Children's Hospital and a lot of other Adult Swim shows. And yes, Chloe did recently come out too. Abby Lee very much is the dance instructor on Dance Moms and Abby's Ultimate Dance competition. That's a lot of dots there, Mary. But yeah, Chloe's dad wrote Children's Hospital. Yeah. It's fucking great. The kids on that show were precious, but the moms could use an asking. I do not agree with that. I do not. I think that wasn't her name Madison? Her little sister was Mackenzie. Maddie and Mackenzie. Yeah. Maddie's a bitch. Sorry. Not sorry. I know that Maddie learned it from her mom, but there comes a certain point in time where your dance and your wanting to win medals does not come above your friends. There you go. You don't stab your friends in the back like that. Maddie was a bitch. Yeah, same. Although Christy's been doing better since they stopped filming Dance Moms. She doesn't drink as much either. She's been very open about that too. She was like, "Yeah, I don't drink nearly as much anymore because I don't have to deal with all those people." I respect it. Okay, so I really appreciate all of y'all being here and talking about these things with me and doing the thing. It's been so much fun this morning. If anyone has suggestions for what the next stream that I will do should be, please hit me up on Discord and let me know your ideas, because I'm going to need a little bit before I go into the last part of Girl Defined, because my mental health is not where it needs to be able to properly cover that. So if there's any topic that y'all would like for me to do the research on and do a stream on, then absolutely please hit me up and let me know what you think. In the description, there are still the links to all of the other members of the Stream Pervs family, such as Slim Cyborg, Vila Vendetta, the Horny Pearlfish, Sir Little Wolf. Yes, everyone, please check out the Cookie McSweet Tits stream tonight. It's at 5:30 EST, I do believe. And it's going to be a ton of fun. It always is, and it's always very informal. Or very informational. God damn, I can't fucking speak. I'm talking too much. Okay. Also remember that in the description there are reproductive health resources for all individuals with and without uteruses. And yeah. Thank you all very much. I love you all, and I will talk to y'all later.